Hi everybody! My name is Valerie and welcome to my art lounge. So, as a brand new YouTuber, I'm getting my feet wet participating in my very first video hop. Now, I'm a member of this Facebook group called Courtney Kreeber's Card Making Hops. Try to say that 10 times fast. Oy. Anyway, each month they have a new theme, and for the month of April, it was decided that we do something called Use It Up or Dig It Out. For me, I'm doing the dig it out part. Now, as the name implies, you're either going to use up something that you have too much of in your crafty stash, or you're going to dig out an old item or maybe an old technique that you haven't used in a while to make this card. So for me, as I said, I was going to do the dig it out part, and I came up with this beautiful cardstock. And I bought this about 2 years ago at Joann's. So it's just been sitting there, and it started out as an 8.5 sheet. So I cut it down into 4 parts to make 4 A2 size cards. I have a ton of these already prepared in my stash, cut and scored and everything. So all I had to do was glue it down, or trim it first and then glue it down. And then cut a hole in the front. I use this as a template. Now this one's going to be a little different because once I cut out the hole, this one is going to be, he's so cute too. I'm going to make some more cards using this as the main theme. This little sheep. Anywho, don't think this is going to waste. Promise you, they're going to get used. Where'd they go? Here they go. I got a bag that I'm going to use these and make some more of, some alternate cards in the same vein. Then, all right, so here's our card. And I'm also going to decorate the envelopes. We're going to talk about that at the end. So here's the card. You've got a 3D daisy with this really nice fuzzy center. You got our fun little bunny on what they call an action wobbler. Sentiment. And on the inside, as you can see, it looks like it's nice, a watercolor background. I am not a watercolor artist by any means. And how I got around this is I have some awesome stamp sets that make it look like you watercolored it, but it's a stamp. And I'll show you these in a second. This card took 6 different stamp sets to all come together between the background and the sentiments and everything. So this is the finished product. So how I got here was I did a lot of testing. So this is the original one. I thought I'd use some of the scrap up there, but I nixed that on this new card. And you see that this is black. I decided that this was a too pastel of a color scheme, so I went with the gray instead. And I think I like the gray better. The black was a little too harsh. Now to make all these different flowers, whoops, oh, I bent my daisy. Now to make all these different flowers back here, these are all stamps. Oh, but wait, my bad. Let me tell you about our friend, our little hoppity friend here. So he was colored with Copic markers, and literally 3 colors. C1 gray, some pale pink, and some pale fruit pink. 3, that's it. It's a white bunny, so you really didn't have to do much coloring. All I did was, as you can see, did some flicks with the gray. Then I started with the paler pink at the bottom, and then pale pink all the way in, and then the slightly deeper pink underneath to get a little more dimension. His little nose, I actually colored with this new thing called Jelly Roll Soufflés. It gives a little bit of dimension and shine, so I just colored in his nose. And I also did the same with, in the same style with the little honeybee up top, using a slightly more flesh tone gray and then moonlight yellow for this bee. I'm telling you, Jelly Rolls is the bomb. And then, like a lot of us card artists do, I emphasize his little eyes with black glaze pen. So that takes care of our bunny. So he's all colored. I fussy cut him out with these nice, I love these things, man. And my shoulder, my wrist is jacked up right now. So having this spring-loaded scissor is amazing for fussy cutting. And I just fussy cut it out. One thing you'll notice though, is that when you fussy cut stuff out, like you get that white edge, to clear that up, all you do is you take a really super fine tip marker and you color that in. So if you miss a couple of spots when you're fussy cutting, you can cover it up. And like magic, it goes away and you look like you're a rock star as far as cutting stuff out. Right? So that's how I took care of our little bunny friend here. Now, this action wobble, this is another thing that I dug out that I've never used until today to make this card. These are action wobbles, right? There's two different sizes, and I used the smaller one to attach our bunny friend to the card. Now, when you have these, what you want to do, there's going to be a flat, a super thin end, and a thicker end. And especially for this card, I wanted to have it already attached to the bunny and then left this still on the sticker so that when I finished coloring it all in, I could carefully place him where I wanted him to go. You see here, he was on this card, it was just popped up with some dimensional tape, but I had him look like he was leaping off of this rock. Well, I wanted the same effect over here. So when I painted the rock, I closed down the lid and then carefully kind of shifted it around till I figured out where I wanted it. I peeled it off and moved it around. And then when I was happy with it, press them down. Now, as you can see, oops, I keep bending that poor daisy. Now, as you can see, this goes almost all the way back down to flush. So you'll have no problem getting this into an envelope. Okay, no problem whatsoever. Move this out of the way. Now, what I had done, I'm still doing because I'm going to be making a lot of these cards. I just stamped a whole bunch. Now, I stamped one set in the London Fog and one set in Brutus Monroe Detail Raven to figure out, if I wanted it to be lighter or darker and everything. And I still went with the Detail Raven and then colored my baby in. So now to make these background scenes here, let me get this out the way. So to make our background scene, I used a whole bunch of stamps. Stamp sets, I should say. I used 4 different stamp sets to create this background. So I did this guy right here. These were this plus this. Then in a fitting title called My Meadow, I used this stamp to make the grassy area, this plus this little thing here to make the rock. These two together make these tulips right here. And then this flowery bush is this plus this guy. Now, I did it in 2 different ways here. I did it as a flowered bush and then just like some grassy patch, all green. And I actually like either one, so it came out pretty cool, I think. Then we move on to this guy. Well, actually, this girl. Actually, I didn't use this one for this. That's for the front sentiment. And then, of course, the main attraction, our bunny. Now, you see these 3 little cute things, and you saw the little sheep earlier. So I'm going to make some with this and this because, again, I don't feel like coloring a whole lot. So I used the inside sentiment, the little bee, and my 2 main attractions here, mostly the bunny. Now, the next phase, so in using those stamps, I had to kind of get creative. So I had my Misty to do the simple setup for the sentiment and that bee. But to do all of these, I had to get creative with these acrylic blocks. So set them up, and using both sides, so that as I punched each thing out, start with the leaves, flip it over, stamp it, hit it with things. And I used hecka colors, man. Petal Pink, Flirty Flamingo, Peekaboo Peach, some Lemon Lime Twist, Old Olive, Sahara Sand, and Gray Granite. So these two were for the rock. These two for the grass and the stems. And obviously these three, well, actually I ended up not using the Petal Pink this go around. But I used the Flirty Flamingo and the Peekaboo Peach for these. And then I broke out these two pens to do this flowering plant. I don't know what that's supposed to be. And this little flowering thingy bobs. So came out pretty cool, I think. What do you think? Tell me in the comments below. So this is a good way to show you how using both your Misty and acrylic blocks will work for card making. You don't necessarily need one or the other. You can use both if you've got them both. Now, for the finale, for the front here, so we have this little daisy. And what I did was I punched out 2 daisies. Now, originally, I was just going to color it. Where'd that other card go? Oh, here it is. So originally, I was just going to color it in and leave it flat, but I was like, it could be better. So what I did then, you'll take one and kind of gently let the edges curve up, right? You'll glue them together, a little offset, so it looks nice and full, right? And then once you do that, you have this cool little product, are these centers. And you just glue it down, boom. I actually took that sticky off of there and glued it down with my handy dandy art glitter glue. So it would stay a little better since I know it was going to be going through the meter mail, even though it was going to lay flat. No worries. And then lastly, for this sentiment here, I got really creative with these stamps. Where'd it go? So I didn't have anything that was punny like this for the hopping. So what I did was I used my ladybug stamp set. Oh, no, not the ladybug. I'm sorry. The New Wonders. And it says just popping by to say, or popping in to say, but I wanted it to say hopping. So what I did was I masked it off with tape. I stamped it in my Memento ink, right? And then, well, actually, big learning curve. Peel off the tape before you put it to the stamp, or you're going to get this big old gray blob over there. So once you take off the tape, you stamp it. And then I hand wrote the H with the fine end of this Memento ink pen. So zoop, connected it in. I'm also taking, what do they call it? Hand lettering class, or hand calligraphy. Oh, I forgot about my little, whoops. I forgot about the little butterfly that I put in there. Boom. Yeah, because this butterfly, I don't have any purple ink right now for some goofy reason. So I made my own. Color Theory 101. Red and blue make purple. And I filled them in with a little watercoloring. So as I was saying, so now we're doing the front, right? So pop that up on some foam tape. Bob's your uncle. We have a card. Can't have a card with naked envelopes. So I went through a couple of different iterations of this. So this is the final product, right? But I started here and I was like, ugh, that don't look right. Then I'm like, okay, that's a little bit better, but this is too close together. Then I'm like, okay, we're getting closer. And then the final product was moving it just a little bit more over. And all of a sudden, it looks fantastic. And of course, you got to do the back. If you do the front, you got to do the back, even if it's a little simple. And this also came from that Daisy stamp set. Bad-ow. So, this is my card and this little envelope. Hope you enjoyed, maybe you can make this project yourself. I have some written out instructions that I'm going to be putting up probably on my Facebook page or what have you, or having a link to not the Facebook, but the Pinterest account that I have. And hopefully, maybe you'll create something similar. It doesn't have to be exactly the same, but it can still be cute and beautiful and fun. Thanks for joining me, and I hope you come back and visit me soon. Bye-bye.